I did wash my ears for this video, and that's something I didn't think I'd be saying on YouTube in 2020. Hi everyone, if you're new to my channel, I am Sam and I make videos about neurodiversity and exploring the autistic experience every week on YouTube. Today I'm going to be reviewing earplugs, a must-have for the noise-sensitive autistic person, or the noise-sensitive anyone really. Now, what I call the fancy earplug market has definitely exploded in recent years. And that's not even talking about the fancy in-ear noise-cancelling active headphone thingies. What are they called? I don't know. I did try a pair of those last week and they were nice, but for the purposes of scientific purity of this video, I'm just going to stick to the regular earplugs. Now, just to niche down even further, I'm not looking for these earplugs for sleeping. I don't want them to block out all noise. That's not what these earplugs are necessarily designed for. They're often called musicians' earplugs or concert earplugs, and they're designed for people going to very noisy environments to dampen the volume while still being able to hear what's going on and hear the music. So from an autistic perspective, these would be very useful in a variety of settings where the noise gets too much for us to handle. So anything from cafes to airports to train stations, supermarkets, noisy social gatherings. I personally find these situations more and more difficult to deal with because I find as I'm getting older, my noise sensitivity is getting a little bit worse. But what's important for me is that I can actually talk back to people in these environments, both for safety and for social reasons. And these are obviously a lot more subtle than over-ear headphones or ear defenders. Because people often don't like having a conversation with you when you're wearing them because they think you're being rude, they think you're listening to music. Most of the time I'm not. So it's a lot more subtle and people often won't notice that you're even wearing earplugs. Now I know earplugs are not for everybody. Some people really hate putting things in their ears, but they are a simple and reasonably inexpensive way of dealing with what I consider the worst of the sensory stimuli, and that's sound. So let's start off with just talking about foam earplugs. You can get these anywhere. They are super, super cheap. I think you're supposed to throw them away after each go, or just wash them and maybe use them a couple of times. And they're kind of like the vanilla ice cream of the earplug world. You know, everybody knows about it. Everybody has probably tried them at some point. And they really, really muffle sound. They might be all right for sleep, but if you've only tried those, and I would really recommend you try another kind because it's a really different experience and sensation. Foam earplugs honestly make me feel a little bit claustrophobic. I do occasionally use them for sleep, but I really don't like them that much. People also recommended me these moldable silicone earplugs, and these ones are called DeepSleeps. They've got a little owl on them, and they're basically like little putty thingies in there. And I was going to compare them for this video, but honestly, I put them in and had a sort of mild sensory freak out. I really didn't like them. I didn't like the sensation, and they don't go in your ear canal, they form a slight suction in your ear, and they're ever so slightly slimy, and it just... Bleh. I know some people like these ones, and good for you. And I might try them again when I'm a bit more, I don't know, whatever, but I didn't want to do them for this video because I just, yes, real life. It's like putting blue tack in your ears. So I ended up comparing 4 brands of earplugs. The first were a generic no-name brand off Amazon, the second were PartyPlugs, the third were Vibes, and the fourth was Loop. So let's start with the generic cheap-ass ones. Let's see, they literally came like this. There were no instructions or anything. I don't know if you really need instructions to put something in your ear, but it was a bit like, oh, okay, what do I do with this? Give me more information about it. I don't know how many decibels they reduce sound by, allegedly. I can't even open the box here. There we go. It really wasn't that difficult. So you can see they come in a little case like this. I think they cost £4 for 4 sets. It's a bargain. You get these, they're cheap, and they are fine. That would be my one-word review of them. They're fine if you are like the sort of person that just kind of like sticks it in your ears, wangs on some sunglasses, and like bish bash bosh, you're out of the house. I'm more like the princess on the pea. People have called me fussy, believe it or not. And honestly, I think these ones are just simply a little bit too big for me. They only come in one size, so, you know, if you don't fit them, that's tough. And they really are a bit too muffly for me. Just putting one in, my voice is really reverberating, it's quite loud. Putting the other one in, it's very, yeah, I'm not so keen on these. Honestly, I don't see myself ever reaching for these ones. personally. Like, I'm glad I tried them out, just so I know that I couldn't have just bought the cheap ones. But also, as you can see, the ear stems are very long, and I wasn't sure if you were supposed to cut them off or not, or like trim them to size. They're very long and they stick out quite a lot. So they're fine. And if you've got larger ear canals, I don't have any concept of the size of my ear canals, then I think these would probably be all right. But they're so cheap, they don't even have the right description on Amazon. It says they're foam, but they're definitely silicone. So you get what you pay for these ones, basically. Right, next up we have party plugs. And I've actually had these for a while. These were the first ones that I bought just for myself, and I've been using them pretty consistently for about 6 months now, I think. These are $9.99 or $16. I think they're a bit more expensive in America. I got mine from Specsavers. They are available in a lot of places. They are super, super discreet. I actually really like these. They are soft, they are pretty comfortable, easy to wash, and you can barely see them once they're in. They have a, what's the word? Acoustic attenuation. So the amount that they dampen sound by well, it says various things on the same listing, 19 decibels or 21 decibels, but round about that. And it says they're reusable 100 times, which I don't know whether you're supposed to keep track of that or how you know when you need to get rid of them and get new ones. I guess if you have more earwax than I do. But I've had mine a while, so maybe. I just washed these for the video, actually. They look fine. These are Dutch design and a brand produced in the Netherlands, and they have actually various types. The brand is called Alpine, and these are called party plugs. They have kids ones, ones for the aeroplane, ones for swimming, that sort of thing. So I would say that these are very reliable, straightforward, and I do use them often in situations like the supermarket or something like that. There are some reviews on Amazon which say that they are small and they get stuck in people's ear canals, and they've got very short stems. I have no concept of the size of my ear canals, I've already said that, but like, I think medium, like, I don't know, it's the size of my finger. Is that gross? I did wash my ears for this video, and that's something I didn't think I'd be saying on YouTube in 2020. But I didn't have any problems like that, and they also do come with a little stick to remove them. So maybe assess the size of your ears. If you've got very large ones, then they only come in one size, or I think they only come in one size. You know, use your own discretion and don't end up in A&E. Good life advice from Yo Samdy Sam. Right, next up we have got Vibes. And from the way that people talk about these, they're like, it's like the iPhone of the earplug world. They look a little Apple-ish, actually. And honestly, when I first opened it, I was a bit like, I paid how much for this? It's a teeny tiny little bit of plastic with a silicone bubble on top, and it comes with 2 different sizes of silicone bubbles. I mean, it comes with 3 sizes, including the one that's already on there. And to be honest, I was gleefully rubbing my hands thinking of how I would scathingly review them, and then I tried them. And I kept reaching for them when I needed to. And for me, these are the most comfortable ones I own. My voice doesn't reverberate when I'm talking. It's still quite comfortable for me to talk like this. And these are definitely the most comfortable ones of all the ones I tried. They were $21.95 in British pounds or 24 US dollars, which is getting on the steep side for a single pair of earplugs. But honestly, they proved their worth. These definitely performed the best in terms of reducing noise while still being able to hear clearly. And most importantly, which I really struggle with any other earplugs, is being able to talk and knowing how loud you're talking, because a lot of them make your own voice sound very loud, and so I end up whispering to compensate. And so whenever I'm wearing my earplugs, my husband's always like, What did he say? But if I'm talking that loudly, it seems unbearably loud in my own head. So for that one, these ones definitely get the best out of that. They're also very discreet because the tip is transparent, so you can't really see them much when it's in your ear. So I really do like these ones, and I would recommend them. Obviously, everybody's ears are different. I'm not going to say
this is going to be so comfortable for you guys.
You have to try them. I can't say whether they're going to be comfortable, but for sound quality, I definitely really like these ones. So the last up is loop earplugs, and these definitely come in what I would say the most unnecessary packaging. They come in a box like this. That's still just a pair of earplugs. These are pretty pricey. They are £30 or just under, and I think in US dollars they were also $30. And these are definitely marketed to the clubbing crowd and not the autistic crowd. The box says something like live, love, laugh, or something like that. What does it say? Enjoy the beat, flashing lights, feel the heat, live the night. If they were being marketed to autistic people, I think it would be more like enjoy the clarity of music, stimulates, feel the nice warm, cuddly water bottle, sleep the night. And Loop, you're welcome to use that if you pay me some royalties. Anyway, these ones are nice. They come in a little carrying wallet. They're a Dutch design because I guess the Dutch like to party, so I've heard. I personally like a good cup of tea in an early night. Now, a lot of people think there is actually active noise cancelling in them, probably because of the price, but they are just earplugs. Pretty earplugs. The Loop is decorative, or they call it like an acoustic channel. There's a diagram and everything. It looks real sciencey. I don't really know whether that's just BS or not. But at the end of the day, they're earplugs, and this might disappoint or delight some people. They look a bit like, what are those big piercings? You know, the loops that people have in their ears. But for this one, the loop sits within like your, I don't know, outer ear? Well, I don't know ear anatomy. That's your outer ear, right? Yeah. Okay, so they sit like that basically, and they don't seem to go in quite as deep as the other ones, which might be good for some people. It might be more comfortable for some people. The thing about these loops is that I kind of like them, but also don't. For me, and I know ears really do vary in shape, the loop nestles super comfortably in and like is just held in by parts of my ear. And I like that aspect, not only from like an aesthetic point of view, but also from a comfort point of view. They feel really secure. They're not going to pop out or anything because they're kind of like screwed in. But I just wasn't convinced by the sound quality. They come with 6 different tips, 3 sizes of silicone and 3 sizes of foam. And the sound was okay, but it was a bit jarring and echoey to hear my own voice in a way that wasn't the case with the Vibes. And maybe like in between with the PartyPlugs. And I really don't like hearing my own, not like I don't like hearing my own voice, but I don't like it being amplified within my head, because that's sort of like not what you're going for when you're noise sensitive. So I started with the mediums on these ones, and I sized up to the large in the silicone because I thought that maybe they were just a bit too small, and I think they do run smaller than some of the other earplugs do. So I mean, I don't think I've discussed the size of my ear canals plenty on this video. I've never thought that I have particularly large ear canals, but I imagine there are people with larger ones and they probably wouldn't fit you. So I think with these ones, you are really just paying for something pretty. But that's, you know, people pay for pretty things, that's okay. And I like that actually, because I have a nickel allergy and increasingly my ears won't tolerate even titanium earrings. They just kind of reject them and swell up. So I can actually see myself wearing these because they are like quite pretty, and I got the ones in rose gold. They come in lots of different shiny colours. I was just really disappointed in the sound quality, and I wonder whether that is the acoustic channel that does something. I don't know. Maybe it is just for people going clubbing and you don't actually want to talk. I don't know what people do at clubs. Maybe it's okay for this. I unfortunately didn't get an opportunity to go clubbing since I got them, so I don't know how they are. I do want to, I'm going to a concert in October, so I do want to try them out there. I will try all of them out again at an actual concert with real noise, not just autistic noise. But you know, like in terms of my favourite, I would say I've reached for the Vibes the most. The PartyPlugs I know are comfortable and I know kind of like just work. The Vibes I think just have that slightly more premium sound quality. I sound like such a knob, don't I? Premium sound quality. But you know, it's important, I think. To be honest, my ideal plug would be like if Vibe and Loop had a baby, you know? I'll be its mummy. So I hope this was an infotaining look at these brands and these types of earplugs. I obviously couldn't get every earplug out there. I couldn't buy them all. That seems expensive. But let me know in the comments if you have tried any of these and what you thought about them, or if you have a favourite that I missed and you want me to review it for next time, or do you want me to review it when I actually go to somewhere really, really noisy. Please give me your precious likes and share it if you found it helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye.